Hey, thank you for coming by. Tori Magoo 44. Today's the 17th of March 2012. And today I'm going to be speaking to you about Scientology and homophobia. I know I've mentioned a few videos quite a ways back about it, but because I've made so many other videos, and it's very important to me. The reason it's important I'm going to explain to you in L Ron Hubbard's words. But the other reason is one of my friends, Derek, recently left the Church of Scientology and has spoken out. I'm going to put the links right here to the Village Voice where they tell his story. And it's a pretty great story. I hope you take the time to read it. Derek, I'm so proud of you. He was living with his parents. His parents are in. He'd gotten out, was reading on the net, came and even met me and probably some other people, and was still staying with his parents, and then finally made his way out, and he's on his own. And I very much congratulate you. It's a huge leap. And I want to tell you, I know it can be spooky because it feels like you're losing all of your friends everywhere. You know, no one's ever going to talk to you again. All of your eternity forever is, you know, going to be ruined, etc. And I know people watching this and say, I'd never do that. It never happened to me. I'd never do it either. Neither would Derek. Neither would anybody. Derek was raised in it, so he didn't have a choice. But even me, I got in it way before the internet. And that's why the academics say the two worst cults are the Moonies and the Church of Scientology. Why? Because they build in these traps in your head where you're actually self-censoring yourself. So you're not going to be looking, listening, hearing any of the and theta that might ruin you, right? Okay, so Hubbard basically came up with what he called a tone scale, an emotional tone scale, right? Starts out, you know, way high up onto, you know, conservative, onto boredom, onto anger, grief, and all the way down to death, I think. It's got all kinds of different tone levels. But the one that he says is the worst of all is, and this is why it's so personal to me, because he puts in Science of Survival, he says, homosexuals and chronic illness, anyone with a chronic illness, are 1.1, which is right below 2.0. Anything above 2.0 is good, anything below 2.0 is not good. But 1.1, he said, is the most insidious tone level of all. Now 1.1 is covert hostility. Just think of someone with a knife behind their back, and they're smiling at you, but they're going to jab the knife in you. That's a 1.1. I am not covert. I'm going to tell you how I feel, and you can look at any of my videos and see I tell you how I feel. Derek isn't 1.1 either. You know, so they misuse that term all the time. Anybody who's a critic of Scientology, you would be considered 1.1. Why? Because you're a critic of Scientology. But, you know, I'm going to read to you exactly what he says about someone who's 1.1. So you get why I have such a deep meaning about this. Now, hang on. I'm going to read this, but just don't leave, because this is good stuff. Okay, in any event, this is L Ron Hubbard, any person from 2.0, right, remember the tone scale, 2.0 down on the tone scale, should not have in any thinking society any civil rights of any kind, because by abusing those rights he brings into being arduous and strenuous laws which are oppressive to those who need no such restraints. So all the rest of the world, except for we, who are below 2.0, which is a lot of people. Okay, so that's Science of Survival, page 145. All right. The next quote, I'm only going to read two, but this other one is really good. There are only two answers for the handling of people from 2.0 down on the tone scale, neither one of which has anything to do with reasoning with them or listening to their justifications of their acts, meaning how they explain what they're doing. The first is to raise them on the tone scale by uninterpolating some of their theta by any one of the three valid processes. Now, I know that probably doesn't mean anything to most people, but it means to bring them up tone, up above 2.0, by either auditing, which is like counseling, training, which is learning the Scientology technology, or change of environment, right? That's it. Now, this is the key sentence. The other is to dispose of them quietly and without sorrow. That's from page 170 of Science of Survival. The other is to dispose of them quietly and without sorrow. So anybody out there who's saying there's no disconnection, there's no fair game, First of all, yes, there is. They declare people suppressive. This is my SP declare, which you can see right now. And it was on September 15th, which was right after Mark Bunker put up the video of Magoo dancing in Boston. They declared me suppressive, no ethics handlings, no anything. All the policies that they say you're supposed to get before you're declared, nothing. Nada, zip, zero. Never even talked to me, declared me SP. And they do it all the time now with people. That's David Miscavige. Boom. Hubbard at least said there were all these levels you were supposed to do. Okay, whatever. It's still gross. Hubbard said those quotes. Those were his quotes in Science and Survival. And that's awful. Okay? And that's what they say about people who are gay or have a chronic illness or anyone else. If you're chronically in grief and sad, if you're chronically angry, if you're chronically, think of any of the lower things, then dispose of you quietly and without sorrow. That's the Church of Scientology. They follow L Ron Hubbard's words. Those are his words. Okay? You can Google it and just put L Ron Hubbard quotations and look it up and read it for yourself. Or don't buy this Science of Survival. Don't. It's awful. It really is. Especially for those reasons. So anyway, to the parents of Derek, I cannot believe you chose any organization over your son. But the Church of Scientology, where they are so absolutely abusive to you and you know it, and your son went through so much turmoil, for you to choose that organization over your son? I never did that when I was in there. Never. My son is my son. And he knew that way when I was in. I told him, your life means more to me than this organization. When the first kid hung himself, I told him that. Because it's very important. It's awful that what they do to people. And Derek, I know you might be having a hard time because you've left, but I want you to know you have friends around the world, people that will love you and be in touch with you and stay in touch with us, and it does work out. And it works out way better than you'd ever think. And it's free. Scientology is not. All right, so there you go. I hope you guys learned something from this on why I'm so passionate about it. Because those are his quotes. Dispose of them quietly and without sorrow. Ooh, that's the Church of Scientology. And Paul Haggis left for that very reason. Because he said this is just disgusting how they treat people. And he's not even gay. And hey, what about John Travolta? Everybody calls me and asks me, what about John Travolta? Well, you know what? John Travolta is going to have to answer that. But I will tell you this, Johnny boy. I've told you before, step up to the plate, man. And tell it. Tell it all. You need to. You really do. You represent the Church of Scientology. You and Tom Cruise represent the Church of Scientology. I went to Norway. They didn't even know what Scientology was. As Andrea said, it's a doorbell here. But you know what the kids said? They said, no, I don't know what Scientology is. I said, John Travolta, Tom Cruise. Oh, yeah. No, we know it. We don't want to hear about it. No. So step up to the plate, man, and please tell it all. And to someone like, I wrote down his name, Ricki Martin. Thank you. Ricki Martin was a very, very cool musician who is gay and who did have the courage and the guts to stand up and say, I'm gay. And I love that. I think it's fantastic. And look at how happy he looks because he's being honest with himself and with others. And that's fantastic. So there you go. That's how I feel. I love you all. I thank you for everything you're doing. Please keep doing it. And peace out.